I need you to put down whatever you're doing for the next few minutes. Not multitask this, not half listen while you scroll. Because a message came through today that has a timestamp on it and energy that said, clearly, this needs to reach her now, not later. And I've learned the hard way that when a message arrives with that kind of urgency, you don't sit on it. Let me tell you why I know that. Because there's a story behind why I take urgency seriously. A few years back, I had a reading energy come through for someone not on camera, just privately, for a person I knew, and it came with this insistent, almost pushy quality. Tell her now, don't wait. And I hesitated. I thought, I'll mention it next week. It's probably not that time sensitive. I don't want to seem dramatic. And I waited. And by the time I finally passed it along, the window the message was about had partly closed. The timing had mattered, and I treated it casually, and I never fully forgave myself for that. It taught me something permanent. Urgent energy is urgent for a reason. The universe doesn't stamp now on a message for fun. When something arrives fast and insistent, it's because the timing is part of the message. I still think about that sometimes, how a message can be completely true and still lose half its power if it arrives late. Because timing isn't just packaging on a message, sometimes timing is the message. A warning that comes after the danger has passed is just a story. A word of hope that comes after you've already given up is just a nice thought. The same words, delivered at the right moment versus the wrong one, can be the difference between changing everything and changing nothing. So ever since that day, when something comes through with a now on it, I move. I don't second guess it. I don't tidy it up. I don't schedule it for a more convenient time. I get it to whoever it's for, fast, while the window is still open. Because I learned the cost of doing it the other way, and I'm not paying that cost twice. And that is exactly the energy I'm holding today. This one came in hot. It came in with that same insistent now stamped all over it. And it's specific, not a vague, could apply to any one message, but a pointed, particular one that's going to make certain people watching this sit straight up. So I'm not going to slow walk it. I'm not going to bury the letter under 10 minutes of throat clearing. This is urgent, this is specific, and this changes everything, and I'm going to get you to it fast. Hi, my loves. It's Elena. Welcome back to Elena Tarot. And today, we're moving with some urgency. Because this message from your person is not one to let sit. Something has shifted. Something has just shifted recently, freshly, with the ink still wet on it. And the whole reason this came through with such a rush is that the shift changes the entire picture between you and this person. What you thought you knew about where things stood, update it. Because the situation just moved. And this message is here to tell you exactly how. So if you've been feeling lately like something is different, like the energy around a specific person changed, and you couldn't put your finger on what this is, your confirmation and your explanation, arriving at speed. Let me get you to it. Let me shuffle. Fast. Because this one wants to be heard now. The shift that just happened, first card down, and it tells me what changed the actual event. The shift that set off this whole urgent message. The card is the Eight of Wands. And if there is one card in the entire deck that screams urgent, fast-moving, something just happened, it's this one. The Eight of Wands is speed. It's news traveling fast. It's a sudden burst of movement after a period of stillness. It is the card of things happening quickly, right now, all at once. And that's exactly the energy of what just occurred. Loves, after what may have been a long, static, nothing seems to be moving stretch between you and this person, a stalemate, a silence, a holding pattern, something just broke loose. The Eight of Wands is the logjam suddenly clearing, the frozen river suddenly rushing, the stuck situation suddenly, rapidly, in motion. Some internal or external event just happened on their end that unfroze everything. And now energy is flying between you at a speed that's going to feel almost dizzying compared to how still things have been. Here's what's important about this card. The Eight of Wands doesn't do slow. Whatever is now in motion is going to move fast. This isn't a someday, eventually, maybe message. This is a buckle up, it's happening now message. The stillness is over. The waiting is ending. Something has been set in flight like arrows loosed all at once, and it's headed toward you quickly. That's why the message came in with such urgency. It's matching the speed of what's actually happening. The energy is moving fast, so the message had to move fast to keep up with it. Let me make this practical, because you felt this kind of shift before in life. Think about how situations can stay stuck for the longest time, a job search where nothing's biting, a situation that won't resolve, a relationship in limbo, and then, out of nowhere, everything happens at once. 3 job offers in a week after months of silence. A situation that wouldn't budge for a year, suddenly resolving in a day. That's the Eight of Wands. Life doesn't always move at a steady pace, it moves in fits and starts, long stillnesses punctuated by sudden bursts. And you just entered a burst. After the long stillness with this person, the arrows have been loosed. Things are about to move faster than they've moved in a long time. So the first thing this urgent message wants you to know is simply, it's moving now. The frozen thing just thawed. Get ready. Comment it's moving now if you felt the energy around a specific person suddenly shift into motion recently after a long stillness. Because that shift is exactly what set this urgent message off. And I want to add something about the nature of Eight of Wands speed, because it's important for how you handle the next little while. When this card fires, things don't just move, they move in a way that can feel almost overwhelming, like everything you'd been waiting for shows up at once with no warning. And that can be disorienting even when it's good, because you get used to the stillness. The stillness, as frustrating as it was at least predictable. You knew where you stood. You'd adjusted to the waiting. And now, suddenly, the predictability is gone and everything's in motion. And part of you might even feel a strange grief for the quiet, or a flash of panic at the speed. That's normal. That's just your system recalibrating from nothing's happening to everything's happening. So if the rush of this feels like a lot, if you feel slightly knocked off balance by how fast things are suddenly moving after so long, I don't want you to read that as a bad sign. It's just what the end of a long stillness feels like. The river was frozen for so long that the sound of it rushing again is startling. But rushing water is life. It's movement. It's the thing you'd been praying for while you stared at the ice. So let it be fast. Let it be a lot. The speed is not a problem. The speed is the answer to the stillness you'd been so tired of. Next card. What broke the stillness? Okay. Second card. And this one tells me the cause, what actually happened on their end to break the long stillness and set everything in motion. The card is the Tower. And I know the Tower can sound alarming, but here it's answering a very specific question. What event unfroze the situation? And the answer is something collapsed. Something in their life or in their thinking came down suddenly and dramatically. And that collapse is what freed the energy. Here's what I'm seeing. Your person was living inside a certain structure, a way of thinking, a set of circumstances, a story they were telling themselves, maybe even a whole situation that was keeping them stuck and keeping them away from you. And that structure just fell. Suddenly, in a tower moment, maybe a realization hit them like lightning and demolished the story they'd been believing. Maybe an external situation collapsed and cleared the obstacle that was in the way. Maybe something they'd been clinging to finally broke apart. Whatever the specific form, a structure came down on their end, and its collapse is precisely what unfroze the stillness and set the Eight of Wands energy flying. And this is genuinely good news disguised as dramatic news, because the thing that collapsed was the thing that was in the way. The Tower only demolishes what was false, what was stuck, what was blocking the truth from moving. So whatever came down in this person's life recently, as chaotic or sudden as it may have felt to them, it removed a barrier. It cleared a path. It knocked down the wall that was standing between where things were stuck and where they could finally go. The urgency of this message is partly because of the Tower. Something just broke open, the path is suddenly clear, and there's a window now that wasn't there before. Here's the practical picture. Because tower moments are how a lot of real change actually arrives. Think about how often the good, freeing changes in life come disguised as sudden collapses. The job you got fired from that forced you into the career you actually loved. The relationship that ended that cleared space for the right one. The plan that fell apart that redirected you towards something better. In the moment, the collapse feels like disaster. Only later do you see it was the removal of an obstacle, the necessary demolition that had to happen before the good thing could move. That's what just happened to your person. Something in their life came down, and it probably rattled them, but its collapse is the exact reason things can finally move between you now. The wall fell, and the message got its window. And I want to name something specific about how a tower changes a person, because it explains why your person may seem different now. When someone's structure collapses, when a belief they were clinging to shatters, or a situation they were hiding inside falls apart, it doesn't just remove an obstacle. It humbles them. It knocks the certainty out of them. A tower moment has a way of stripping away someone's arrogance, their defenses, their carefully maintained control, and leaving them more raw, more real, and more open than they were before. So the person reaching toward you now is, in a sense, a humbled version of who they were during the stillness. The thing that collapsed took some of their armor down with it. And that's actually why the message that follows is so heartfelt. Because a person who's just been through a tower isn't in a position to be guarded and clever and controlled anymore. They've been cracked open by their own collapse. And a cracked open person tells the truth. So if this person seems more sincere, more humble, more real than they used to be, that's the tower's aftermath. It broke down the version of them that couldn't reach you and left the version that can. Next card. The specific message they're sending, okay. Third card. And this is the content, the actual specific message coming from your person. The very specific part the title promised. The card is the Ace of Cups. And the Ace of Cups is the purest card of the heart. In the whole deck, it's an overflowing cup. A new emotional beginning. A heart opening up and pouring out what it's been holding. And as the message card, it tells me exactly what your person is trying to communicate. The specific message is this. My heart is open, and it's open toward you. After the stillness, after the tower, after whatever collapsed and cleared, what's pouring out of this person now is feeling. Genuine, overflowing, no longer containable feeling. The Ace of Cups is a heart that has been holding back, holding in, keeping the cup covered, and has just uncovered it. The message isn't complicated or clever. It's the simplest and most important message a heart can send. I feel something for you, something real, and I'm done hiding it. That's the update. That's what changed. The feeling was always there, maybe, but it was contained. Now the container is gone, and it's overflowing, and it's pointed at you. And here's why this is so specific and so significant. The Ace of Cups is a fresh start emotionally. It's not the tired old feeling rehashed. It's the heart opening as if for the first time. So the message from your person isn't let's go back to how things were. It's I'm offering you something new, a clean, open, overflowing beginning. Whatever was stale or stuck or complicated before, the tower cleared it. And what's left is this pure new emotional offering. That's the message. That's what's pouring toward you right now. Fast, urgent, and real. Your person's heart cracked open, and the first thing it did was reach for you. And I want to underline the fresh start quality, because it changes how you should hear whatever they say. A lot of people, when someone from their past opens up again, brace for a rerun, the same old feelings, the same old dynamic, the same cycle that hurt before. But the Ace of Cups is specifically telling me this is not a rerun. Something genuinely reset. The tower didn't just knock down an obstacle, it wiped the slate. So what your person is offering isn't the recycled version of an old feeling. It's a feeling that has been, in a sense, reborn through everything they went through. That matters because it means the thing that limited this connection before may genuinely not be present anymore. The old pattern ran on the old structure, and the old structure collapsed. So this opening gets to be built on new ground. Don't measure this fresh offering by the yardstick of the old disappointments. It's coming from a changed person through a cleared path as a new beginning. Let it be new. That's what an ace is, not a continuation, but a genuine start. Let me make this practical, because the Ace of Cups moment is a specific human experience. Think about what it takes for a guarded heart to finally open, how much has to shift internally before someone who's been holding back suddenly can't hold back anymore, and the feeling just spills over. It usually takes exactly what we've seen in this reading: a disruption, a collapse of the old defenses, a moment where keeping the cup covered becomes harder than uncovering it. And when it finally uncovers, it doesn't trickle, it overflows, because it's been building up under the lid the whole time. That's your person. The lid just came off, and everything that was building underneath is now pouring out toward you, all at once. Which is exactly why this feels so urgent and so much like everything changing. A closed heart opening is one of the most significant events that can happen between two people. And it just happened toward you. And here's a detail about the Ace of Cups that I think will help you understand the shape of the message, because it might not arrive the way you'd expect. When a heart this full finally overflows, the person often struggles to put it into ordinary words because the feeling is bigger than their usual vocabulary for it. So the message from your person may not come as a neat, articulate speech. It may come clumsily. It may come in fragments. It may come as an action rather than words, a gesture, a reaching out, a sudden change in how they show up, a vulnerability that surprises you more than any sentence could. Or it may come as words that tumble out imperfectly, that don't quite capture what they mean, that are almost endearing in how much they clearly struggled to say. So I don't want you waiting only for some perfectly worded declaration. Watch for the overflow in whatever form it takes, because a genuinely overflowing heart is often too flooded to be eloquent. The realness is in the overflow itself, not in how polished the delivery is. In fact, the messier and more fumbling it is, the more you can trust it, because people perform when they're composed, and they get real when they're overwhelmed. Your person is overwhelmed. Trust the mess. Comment the lid came off if you can feel that this person's heart just opened in a way it hadn't before, because that opening is the specific message at the center of all this. Next card. Why this changes everything, okay? Fourth card. And this one explains the changes everything part of the title, why this shift is so total. Why it doesn't just tweak the situation, but reorders it completely. The card is the Wheel of Fortune. And the Wheel of Fortune is the card of a major turning point, a moment where the entire situation rotates to a new position, where the cycle you've been in ends and a completely different one begins. It is, quite literally, the card of everything changing. Here's what the wheel is telling me. This isn't a small adjustment. This is a turn of the wheel, a fundamental shift in the entire dynamic between you and this person. Whatever cycle you've been stuck in, the on again, off again, the push-pull, the stuck in limbo, the same frustrating pattern repeating, that cycle is ending. The wheel is turning to a new position. And the position it's turning to is completely different from where you've been. That's why the message came with such urgency and such a sense of momentousness. It's not reporting a minor update. It's announcing that the entire situation has rotated into new territory. And the Wheel of Fortune carries a specific and important message about timing and fate that I want you to hear. This turn isn't random. The wheel is the card of destiny, of cycles completing exactly when they're meant to, of the right thing happening at the right time, even when you'd given up on it happening at all. So this shift, as sudden as it feels, is actually on time. It's the wheel turning at the moment it was always going to turn. Everything that had to happen first, the stillness, the tower collapse, the clearing, was the wheel getting into position. And now it's turning. And the turn changes everything. and it's happening exactly when it was meant to. That's why you couldn't force it earlier and why you can't stop it now. The wheel moves on its own schedule, and its schedule just came due. Here's the practical wisdom in this, and it's something I really want you to hold on to. Have you noticed how the biggest changes in life almost never arrive on the timeline you wanted? How the thing you desperately wanted to happen for months or years finally happens right when you'd stopped expecting it often, right after you'd made some kind of peace, or let go, or given up forcing it. That's the wheel of fortune. It turns when it's ready, not when you demand it. And there's a strange mercy in that, because the wheel usually turns at the exact moment you're actually ready to receive what it brings, even if it doesn't feel like it. So, this sudden, everything changing turn between you and this person is not arbitrary. It's the culmination of a cycle completing precisely on time. You've been waiting for the situation to move. The wheel just turned. And when the wheel turns, everything that was on the bottom comes to the top, and everything that felt stuck starts to flow. That's the changes everything. It's a genuine, faded, top to bottom turn of the entire situation. And I want you to notice something the wheel is quietly asking you to release, because it'll help you receive this turn cleanly. If you'd spent the long stillness building a story in your head, a story about how this would never move, how this person would never come around, how you were foolish to keep hoping, how you should just give up, the wheel is asking you to gently let that story go now. Because that story was true for the position the wheel was in. But the wheel just turned, and the old story doesn't describe the new position. This is important because a lot of people miss their own turn of fortune by clinging to the conclusions they drew during the stuck season. They decided it's never going to happen, and then when it starts to happen, they can't see it because they're still reading from the old script. Don't do that. The situation you gave up on is not the situation you're in now. The wheel moved. The old verdict expired. So set down the "it'll never change" story. It was a reasonable conclusion for the stillness. But the stillness is over. Let your mind turn with the wheel, so you don't get left behind, still believing in a situation that no longer exists. Next card. What they need from you right now, okay? Fifth card. And this is the practical heart of it. Because an urgent message isn't just information, it's often a request. And this card tells me what your person actually needs from you in this pivotal moment. The card is the Six of Cups. And the Six of Cups is the card of openness, sincerity, and a kind of returned innocence of dropping the armor and meeting someone with a genuine, unguarded heart. And here's what your person needs from you right now. In this urgent window, they need you to meet their openness with openness. They've just done the hard thing. They've opened the cup. They've let the wall come down. They're reaching toward you with a sincerity they don't usually risk. And what they need in this fragile and pivotal moment is not to be met with the armor you may have understandably put up during all that stillness and limbo. The Six of Cups is asking you to soften, just enough, to receive what's being offered, to meet their newly open heart with a heart that's willing to be opened back. Not naively, not by throwing away your discernment, but by not slamming the door on genuine sincerity out of old, accumulated hurt. Because here's the delicate thing about this moment, loves. When someone finally opens up after a long time of being closed, that opening is fragile. It took a lot for them to get here. A whole tower had to fall. And if they reach out with a newly vulnerable heart and get met with coldness, defensiveness, or a too little too late, that opening can slam shut again, possibly for good. The Six of Cups is heaven gently coaching you. This is a tender moment. Handle it with care. Your person is being more sincere and more vulnerable than usual. The way you receive that sincerity matters enormously right now. This is one of those pivotal moments where how you respond helps determine which way the wheel finishes turning. Here's the practical read, and I want to be balanced about it, because I never want to tell you to be a pushover. Meeting openness with openness does not mean abandoning your boundaries or pretending the past didn't happen. It means responding to genuine vulnerability with genuine presence. instead of reflexive armor. There's a difference between I'm keeping my walls up to protect myself from being hurt again, which is understandable, but can accidentally kill a real opening, and I'm staying discerning while also being willing to receive something genuine. The Six of Cups is asking for the second one. So when your person reaches sincerely, openly, vulnerably, I want you to notice your own instinct to armor up. And I want you to consciously choose whether that armor is actually protecting you or just reflexively blocking something good. Because in this specific, pivotal, urgent moment, meeting their sincerity with your own is what allows the wheel to finish turning toward the good outcome. Old hurt protecting itself is understandable, but don't let it slam a door that a genuinely opened heart is standing in. And I want to name the specific fear that's probably sitting underneath your armor right now, because naming it helps you handle it. The fear is, what if I open up and they change their mind and I get hurt again? That's a completely valid fear, especially if the stillness we've been talking about was painful, especially if this person has pulled back before. So let me speak to it directly. Opening your heart in this moment does not mean handing this person unlimited power to hurt you. It means being present and real for one genuine exchange and then watching, with your discernment fully intact, whether their actions continue to match their opened heart. You're not signing a contract by being open. You're just not slamming the door in the first crucial moment. Think of it like this. You can meet someone's outstretched hand without immediately walking off a cliff with them. You can receive the opening warmly and keep your feet on solid ground, watching to see if the openness is sustained or fleeting. That's the mature version of the Six of Cups, open-hearted and clear-eyed, receptive and watchful. You don't have to choose between protecting yourself and receiving something real. In this moment, you can do both. Meet the opening, and then let their consistency, over the days that follow, tell you how far to walk through the door they just opened. Meet it with openness if you're willing to receive genuine sincerity with a genuine heart, if you're ready to not let old armor block a real opening. Because this moment is asking exactly that of you. Let's pull our final card. Where this leaves you okay. Last card. After everything, the sudden shift, what broke the stillness? The specific message, why it changes everything, and what they need from you. Let's see where this urgent message ultimately leaves you. The card is the Sun. The Sun loves. After all the urgency, all the collapse and rush, and turning wheel, the reading lands on the single, most joyful, warmest, most unambiguously good card in the entire deck. And I cannot tell you how meaningful that is as the final word, because it tells you where all of this urgent motion is headed. The Sun is success, warmth, clarity, joy, and things coming fully out into the open light. It is happiness after struggle. It is the clouds parting completely. And it's where this whole rushing, everything changing situation is carrying you toward the light. Here's what the Sun is promising. All this urgency, all this sudden motion, all this dramatic shifting, it's not chaos for chaos' sake. It's the necessary, fast-moving transition towards something genuinely bright. The Sun says the destination of this whole turn of the wheel is warmth, openness. Enjoy a situation where what's been hidden comes fully into the light, where the feeling that's been contained gets to shine openly, where you and this person can finally stand in the clear, warm daylight instead of the murky, stuck stillness you've been in. The urgent message, in the end, is a good one. It's the messenger running ahead to tell you that the sun is about to come out. So here's where this leaves you, loves. Standing at the edge of a genuine dawn. The stillness broke, the obstacle collapsed, the heart opened, the wheel turned, and all of it is carrying you toward the sun, toward clarity, toward warmth, toward a version of this connection that finally gets to exist in the open light instead of the stuck shadows. That's why this message came in so urgently, so insistently, with such a sense of everything changing. Because everything is changing, and it's changing in the direction of the light. The sun is where the arrows were always flying, The sun is what the wheel was turning toward. And it's close now. Close enough that the universe sent an urgent messenger to make sure you'd be ready to step into it. And there's one more thing the sun wants me to give you, because it's the reassurance that makes all the urgency safe to trust. The sun is the one card in the deck with almost no shadow side. It's about as unambiguously good as the cards get. So its appearance as the final word here is the universe underlining, in the boldest possible ink, that the destination of all this rush is genuinely, reliably good. Sometimes when things move fast, we brace. Because in our experience, fast change has often meant bad news, the sudden phone call, the unexpected disaster. So part of you might be holding your breath, wondering if all this urgency is leading somewhere you need to fear. The sun is here to exhale that breath for you. This is not fast bad news. This is fast good news. The urgency isn't the herald of a crisis, it's the herald of a dawn. And dawns are worth rushing to meet. So you can drop the bracing. You can stop scanning for the catch. The speed of this is not danger approaching, it's joy arriving ahead of schedule. The sun promises it, and the sun does not lie. How to move in a moment like this before I bring this all together. I want to give you something genuinely practical, because a moment like this fast, urgent, everything changing is easy to fumble if you don't know how to move through it. And I don't want you to fumble it. Here's the first thing. In a fast-moving moment, slow your own breathing down. I know that sounds backwards, but when everything around you speeds up, the most powerful thing you can do is not match the chaos with your own frantic energy. The Eight of Wands is moving fast on their end, the arrows are flying, the wheel is turning, the heart is overflowing. You don't need to add your own panic to that. In fact, the calmer and more grounded you stay while the situation rushes, the better your decisions will be, and the more magnetic you'll be to the good outcome. Think of it like this. When a situation is a whirlwind, you don't want to be the whirlwind, you want to be the steady center it organizes itself around. So as this moves fast, breathe slow. Let them rush. You stay rooted. Here's the second thing. Don't try to control the outcome, just respond honestly to each moment as it comes. The wheel of fortune is turning, and the whole nature of the wheel is that it's not yours to control. You can't force it to turn faster, and you can't stop it. What you can do is respond genuinely and openly to whatever each moment actually presents the message when it comes, the reach when it happens, the conversation when it arrives. Don't get 10 steps ahead of yourself planning the whole future. Just be present and honest with the step that's actually in front of you. Fast-moving situations resolve best when you stop white-knuckling the steering wheel and start responding cleanly to the road as it appears. And here's the third thing, the most important one. Let this be allowed to be good. I mean that seriously, because I've watched people receive exactly this kind of urgent, positive shift and then sabotage it out of sheer disbelief that something good could actually be happening. They get suspicious. They wait for the catch. They keep their guard up so high that they can't receive the very thing they'd been wanting. And I don't want that to be you. When the stillness finally breaks in your favor, when the heart finally opens toward you, when the wheel finally turns your way, let it. Let it be real. Let it be good. Let yourself receive it without immediately bracing for it to be snatched away. Not naively, you can stay wise, but don't let disbelief that you deserve good news become the thing that blocks the good news. This is allowed to be exactly as good as it feels. Let it. So let me gather this whole urgent thing into one clear piece for you, because it moved fast, and I want you holding all of it. We opened with the Eight of Wands, the shift itself, the sudden burst of fast-moving energy after a long stillness, the frozen situation suddenly rushing into motion, which is exactly why this message came with such urgency. The tower revealed what broke the stillness, a structure in your person's life, or thinking that suddenly collapsed, and whose collapse cleared the obstacle and opened the window that made all this movement possible. The Ace of Cups, delivered the specific message at the center of it all, a heart opening and overflowing. Your person finally uncovering the cup they'd kept covered, reaching toward you with genuine, fresh, no longer containable feeling. The Wheel of Fortune explained why it changes everything. Because this isn't a small adjustment, it's a fated turn of the entire cycle, ending the stuck pattern you've been in and rotating the whole situation into new territory, right on time. The Six of Cups told us what your person needs from you in this pivotal window to meet their newly opened, vulnerable sincerity with genuine openness of your own. To not let old accumulated armor slam a door that a real opening is standing in. And the sun closed it all in warmth and light the promise that all this urgent motion is carrying you toward genuine joy, clarity, and a version of this connection that finally gets to exist in the open daylight. So here's what I want you to carry out of this urgent reading. Loves, something just changed. Genuinely, freshly, significantly changed, and you were right to feel it. Right to sense that the energy around this person had shifted. This message came in fast, because the change is fast. A long stillness has broken. An obstacle has fallen, a heart has opened, and the whole wheel of the situation has turned toward the light. What you knew about where things stood is now out of date. The situation moved, and it moved in a good direction toward warmth, toward openness, toward the sun. Now, because I always want to keep you grounded even in the rush, let me add the honest, practical note. Urgency is exciting, and it's real, but I don't want the speed of this to sweep you past your own center. Everything is changing fast does not mean abandon your discernment and leap. It means pay attention, be present, be ready, and then respond from your own grounded wisdom, not from the adrenaline of the moment. The Six of Cups asked you to meet openness with openness. And that's true, but meeting something openly is not the same as flinging yourself at it without thought. So receive this fast-moving, everything-changing energy with an open heart and a clear head. Let the wheel turn. Let the sun come out. Let the message land. And then choose your response from the steady center of a woman who can be both open and wise at the same time. That's how you meet a genuine dawn, not by running at it blindly, but by standing ready, open, and clear as it rises. That's the reading, my loves. Urgent, specific, and genuinely momentous, the kind that comes along when the universe needs you to know, right now, that the ground just shifted beneath a situation you'd maybe given up on moving at all. If this resonated, if you felt that jolt of recognition, if a specific person came to mind, if some part of you went yes, something did just change, please give this video a like on your way out. Quickly. Because these urgent messages need to move fast to reach the people they're timed for. And subscribe to Elena Tarot if you haven't yet, because time's sensitive. Specific channeled messages like this are exactly what I'm here for. And I've got so many more coming. Tell me in the comments which card hit you the hardest. Was it the sudden shift? The tower that cleared the path? The heart that just opened? I read every single one, and what you choose tells me exactly where you are in this fast-moving moment. And if you already know exactly who this message is from, you don't even have to name them. Just drop one single for the shift that just changed everything. Thank you for stopping what you were doing and letting this reach you in time. Some messages can wait. This one couldn't. And now it's landed right where it was meant to. Right when it was meant to. Stay open. Stay ready. I'll see you in the next one.